All right, let's start over. All right, hey everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. I hope everybody had a blessed Thanksgiving and we're rolling into Christmas here, which Jamie and I and Jeannie, we have a wonderful time, especially Jamie and I, because we like to post pictures of Christmas trees and just sit back and watch all the people say they're evil and satanic and phallic symbols. And so we have fun with it. But, I hope you guys all have plans and some good times. It's going to interrupt our Zoom fellowships because it both Christmas and New Year's fall on one of the days at
Oh,
least is a
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
So it's gonna change things up. New Year's, I think it's New Year's Day is on a Thursday. So I don't see why we couldn't do one that evening, or it's either New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. I was looking at it today. But everything's going well down here in Idaho, other than the fact that we have a huge storm moving in. So that should be some fun because I am having some difficulties with my heart and I can't do all the things I used to do when winter hits. So we'll figure it out though. We'll get it. We'll get by. God's got it. So it'll be all right. But anyway, tonight we have Randy with us, and he and his wife have a development, and I'm using that term loosely, in the Ozarks called Ark Haven. It's an amazing project. And we get approached by lots of different safe haven type of places. And there's only two that I would recommend. One is Ark Haven, and the other, of course, is Jamie Walden's place, which
Mhm.
is a night and day different than what Randy and his wife is doing. His wife, we all want to say a prayer for his wife tonight. She had some surgery and she's recovering. All is good, but prayers don't hurt. So let's keep them in prayer. And Randy, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Mike. I look forward to speaking and answering questions, and just thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So, Randy, I got to ask you, when I was on your website today, I saw some of the stuff about how Ark Haven got started. But what I want to know is what the heck made you and your wife decide to go up to the Ozarks and take this project on?
Well, my wife and I have been awake for a long time, over 25 years, and we were praying and fasting as many people all over the world are doing about where does God want us in these end times. And we lived in Branson, Missouri for 23 years, and back in 2015, my wife, through a lot of fasting and prayer, um, we started looking for a place just for our family to do it. So we never had a intentional neighborhood in mind. We don't use the word community; it's very different than that. But we bought 20 acres, and we were just going to do it ourselves. And you know, through a chain of events, we were able to meet a person who actually founded the name Ark Haven 51 years ago. He's been holding on to this vision for 51 years. His name is Ken Updegrove. He was 85 years old when we met him. He passed away last year, but got to see the vision that God had given him 51 years ago come to fruition. We met him in 2019, Ken really didn't own anything. He just simply had the vision. And I really hesitated to meet anyone because I didn't want, most communities fail miserably, as everyone knows, and I didn't want to be a part of something like that. But, after meeting him, we found that a lot of things aligned, and we met several times. And I was in a total different career. We had our forever home in Branson, Missouri of 23 years, and my wife is a naturopathic doctor and a scientist. And um, 2 weeks before COVID, uh, my work generally slows down, and we were meeting and praying and fasting and about the vision. And then when COVID hit, the Lord told us to fulfill the vision that He gave Ken Up to Grow 50 years prior. So our life changed drastically. Um, we liquidated life as we knew it and started building Ark Haven. Yeah. Today it's over 3,000 acres, bigger than some cities. We've got over 60 families that live here full time, over 100 landowners. Very different, people. We don't dictate denominations or anything like that. There's no leaders that make all the rules. It's a normal neighborhood with the caveat that everyone are believers in Jesus Christ. We want people that are Holy Spirit led, that are awake. Um, people worship where they want to, and it's an amazing thing. The community part is built organically, so people own their own land. They're the king of their own castles, the queen of their own home. No king but King Jesus. We have community buildings. We have land set aside for co-oping. A person can be as a part of that as they want to or not. So we don't get involved in a person's business. What's the word say? Rarely let your foot set in your neighbor's house. But I can assure you this, by letting the community grow organically, if you need help with something, people are coming. Now, we have special response teams that react to emergencies. We have classes all the time. A lot of them are held by neighbors, people who own land. We bring people in, people that have been at the Remnant Rising Conference, like John Moore. He's been here multiple times, and many others. It's a mixture of extreme homesteaders, people who have never homesteaded, and people like myself who did it as a kid and swore they'd never do it again because of the workload. And we teach people how to live on grid, off grid. We teach people how to grow their own food. If you want to learn, but we are all like-minded. We are in the sense that not only we're all believers in Jesus Christ, but our eyes are wide open to all the deception that we've all lived for multiple lifetimes. And people are here that are just starting families to 90 years old. We've had multiple babies on sites. I mean, it's just an amazing thing to watch. God has performed miracle after miracle. This was not something that just was thought about. It happened one miracle after another. And it's been amazing. It really has.
Well, that's a really encouraging thing to hear, because some of these places that have popped up are really run like a commune where you don't own
Absolutely.
land, and it gets kind of weird, But here at Ark Haven, you actually hold a deed to the property that you purchase. Is that right?
Absolutely. You have a fee simple warranty, a general warranty deed, just like your homes that you own. There's no encumbrances on your land. We used to give half the mineral rights. Actually, I give all the mineral rights, and to even have mineral rights in these days is a miracle in itself. But we weren't interested in the community type thing. We believe that community will exist if it organically happens. We wanted an intentional neighborhood to where your brothers and sisters love each other. If you need help, that help is there. And Dr. Lee and myself have set aside hundreds of acres for recreation, baptismals. We built our second community building now. One was built by a neighbor who's a philanthropist. We have RV parks, transitional homes, because when a person buys 5 to 200 acres, their transition from wherever they're at, everyone has their own yellow brick road. I can tell you when we first started, we were getting 20 calls a day back in 2020. People were buying sight unseen, and they would come with a U-Haul truck. We don't allow that anymore. We want people to take their time. We want to meet them. So everyone is vetting. You know, we vet them, they vet us. And that's done just through discernment and other things that we do. And again, it's very different than what anyone expects. When a person comes, they're blown away at how nice everything is. You know, some people live in cabins. Some people live in custom homes. We have multiple builders. You know, it's amazing. It really is. You're only about 25 minutes from a town that you can drive to, but if you're here on campus at Ark Haven, you would be shocked. It looks like Davy Crockett just walked here. I mean, it is very natural and raw and beautiful.
Wow. So how far from Little Rock are you?
We're about 3 hours from Little Rock. We're about 25 minutes from Harrison, Arkansas, about 39 minutes from Branson, Missouri. And so it's centrally located. If you've ever heard the Corrie ten Boom prophecy, there are several other prophecies that you can find that this area had been prophesied over way before I was born. It would be a great gathering spot for the remnant in the last days. And we're certainly seeing that coming to fruition. You know, when Dr. Lee and I moved to the Ozarks, Branson, back in 9/11 actually brought us there. And we were always amazed at the people that would testify of how God brought them there for end times and revival and the gathering of the remnant. And we're not the only place. We're not foolish enough to think that. But we've always been amazed at that. But I can tell you, in the last 3 to 5 years, we're seeing that accelerate as we're all seeing Scripture come to pass, as we're seeing so much prophecy happening right before our eyes. You know, it would be foolish for any of us to think that what we've all believed as truth seekers, that what we once were called conspiracy theorists, we absolutely know that it is the real deal now. And so, you know, we're not hiding. That's the other thing. By the way, you can't hide. But we are gathered here and drawn here by the Holy Spirit. We have people from all over the world, Brother Mike, about 14 different countries. Most of them are married to Americans, but we have doctors, dentists, walks of all life, every type of walk of life that you can imagine. And some are retired, some are not. You know, we've had a lot of our neighbors. We call a neighbor a person who owns land. Some of them have open businesses. So we call it an intentional neighborhood because we also want to be part of the existing community and neighborhood, you know. But we find that if you want to be able to serve others in a time of disaster, and you have to also be able to take care of yourself first to be a good service.
Well, now, what's the climate like there?
Well, it's small town, so you know I grew up in a small town in North Louisiana, so everyone knows everyone for the most part. You know, as far as the outskirting towns, but you have your normal crime rates. There's things, stigmatisms that's always existed, but to me, it's a wonderful place to live. We don't hear sirens and we don't hear of all types of wild things very often. It's very pleasant. It's a great place to raise kids. Dr. Lee and I have we raised our children in this part of the Ozarks, and we have often said that it's been our favorite place, and we we made it our forever home. And so we're very pleased. And a lot of homeschooling, 99% of our children homeschool. We have children also in Springfield, Missouri that are pastors, and they run a homeschool co-op there as well. And so, our children and our grandchildren are wide awake. We have spoke freely to them about truth for many, many years. And so we are finding that that's pretty mainstream now.
Well, there's been a tremendous amount of, let's say, chatter about the Ozarks and prophecy. Now, where does that all
Mhm.
come from suddenly?
Well, it actually hasn't happened suddenly. If you look at the U.S. Navy maps, because that John Moore has been talking about and has existed since the 60s, this area is known for its structured water.
Oh, yeah.
We have creeks that you can bend down and drink out of without a filter. Also, it's considered a safe haven because of the formation of the Ozark Mountains, that in the case of earthquakes and things that have been talked about really for 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 years, it would not affect. If the New Madrid fault line went off today, this part of the Ozarks would not be affected. And so it's a true safe haven. In fact, people like Joe Scallison and there's multiple authors that write about where are the safest places in America to live. And they've taken in consideration every type of catastrophe that you can think of: man-made, war, acts of God, weather. They've come up with 9 different bullet points that make a place a level 1 through 9. Do you know, Mike, that this is the only place that we found, the only one that meets all 9 criteria?
Wow.
And there are other safe havens. We searched all over the world, so we became students of this, but we also knew that you could be in the safest place in the world and not be in God's will, and it'd be a total disaster for you and everybody around you. So we had to make sure that this is what the Father was calling us to. And so we believe that if you're not led by the Spirit, you're walking blind. And so we want to make sure that the people that are coming here are just being done by that.
What are your temperatures like there? Do you get snow? Is it hot in the summer? What's it like?
Well, I tell you what hooked me, coming from Louisiana, and we lived on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina for about 4 years, and mosquitoes were big enough to sword fight you and certainly big enough to take you away. There's no mosquitoes. In the 26 years that I've lived in the area, I've never been bitten by a mosquito. Now, Dr. Leal will say that she has a few times, but it is the mild temperatures that make it. I mean, right now, is it cold? It is, but y'all would laugh at us. It's only about 40 degrees, 35 degrees, something like that. We do get snow. Sometimes you might get 3 inches. Sometimes you might get a foot. I've even seen a couple of foot once in 25 years, but it melts very quickly. It helps the soil. It's great for adding nitrogen. But the summers, I see it reach 90 sometimes, but most of the times we're in the high 80s, low 90s. It's just beautiful. We almost have a year-round growing season. The terrain is rocky, but we do a lot of raised beds, greenhouses. There are people that do traditional gardens. This part of the Ozarks, we raise a lot of cattle and a lot of farm animals and farm husbandry. But we have lots of greenhouses, and again, people have traditional gardens as well.
And what's the terrain like there? I mean, are you hill country or is it a mix?
It's a mix, definitely where Ark Haven is. We have a mountains that we call Prayer Mountain. The elevation is not like a real mountain to people who truly lives in some of the mountains. The elevation is about 1,400. Our lowest elevation is about 900, but it is beautiful rolling hills, gorgeous weather. If you're an outdoors person, we're surrounded by lakes. Our lakes are crystal clear to the bottoms. The streams are crystal clear. For a person that likes hunting and outdoors, you'll see all types of wildlife. It's just amazing.
Wow. Now, what about for a guy like me that needs to be near good health care, which I assure you I don't have where I live. We are a hospital I call Doc in the Box. It's like
Right.
it's basically like a state.
It's basically a helipad. It's
What?
an airport. It's a helipad.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
hell. Every time
to
I go
Idaho
there.
Falls or to Missoula. There's not very much they can do at this clinic that we have in our town. It's the remote,
Yeah, you're
it's the most remote hospital in all of the lower 48, I just found out. But it's hard to
wow.
get doctors to come there. So basically they try to diagnose you and they airlift you off. But that's kind of scary as you get older, not having,
No, you're 25 minutes. It is.
that's great.
And that's some of the first questions that people ask. We're 25 minutes from Harrison hospitals there. There's all types of med centers even closer than that. Branson, Missouri has great hospitals. And so you're about 25 minutes away. In fact, my son last month, the first time he had ever been sick, he's 22 years old. With my wife being a naturopath, he'd never been to a doctor once in his life, but he got appendicitis, and so we had to rush him to the doctor, and he never left to the next day, and they took his appendix out. So those type of things. We had a lady just a day before yesterday, her guard dog knocked her down and she broke her leg. And so our special response team is full of also doctors, nurses. We have every type of medical personnel here. We'll respond first. We'll isolate and secure a situation and then bring other special response in if needed. We also have that for security as well. That is a volunteer thing is made up of neighbors. We have our own fire truck. So we kind of prepared in a way that most people don't have the abilities to do. We believe in redundancy. Our end game is to never have to leave if we don't want to, but right now, we're going to occupy until that happens. And so there's a lot of great facilities all around, Mike, and yeah.
That's 25 minutes is nothing. I mean, we're 3 hours away from any major hospital. So that's why.
Yeah, that would be tough.
I mean, if you go into our emergency room here with a broken finger, that's why I didn't go when I broke mine. They're going to send you by helicopter to Idaho Falls or Missoula, so that's just what it's like
Yes.
living in the mountains. But that's really nice that you have all of those services right there on your property, that you've got
Yes.
people that can get someone
Yes, we do.
stabilized so you can get them to either Branson or the other city you mentioned, where they can have a surgery or whatever they need to have done. So that's really awesome. That's really awesome. How do
Yeah.
you see this growing in the future?
Well, I can tell you that as the phone calls, as the America, if we see more down pressure in the cities, people want out. They're being led to come out of her, my people, and as people are doing that, they're calling us, and it's going to continue to grow until we run out of land. The land is not infinite, and so there's a finite amount of land that, unless the Lord gives us the green light to buy more, and we've so far have 6 phases. That means we've bought 6 and most of it happened all within a year. The land is paid for. And so when a person buys, it's free and clear. But we just go and let the Lord build the house. I've never lived by pure faith, Brother Mike. And so to answer that question, that is not above my pay grade. You know, just because the land is in Dr. Lee and I's name doesn't mean that this is ours. I prayed about that for a long time, and the Lord shared that with me. And I said, why? And he said, because you can't afford it. And I knew exactly what he meant. We couldn't have afforded to do this. This was done by miracles. And I'm talking about shock you miracles. So it taught me to live by pure faith. And that's not something that's easy for me. I've always been a bit of a workaholic, and I like to have things way in front of me, but this is not what this is. And so when people come and they want to live here, we try to come alongside their vision. Some people have their own expectations of what God is calling them to do. And so we try to come along with that the best that we can, come alongside of that the best that we can. And we've learned that is true growth. You know, we've been praying for a butcher. Well, we knew that these people from South Africa had been trying to get here for almost 3 years. They just got their green card. They visited us about 2 months ago, and guess what he is? He's a butcher. He owns a butcher shop in South Africa. And so we were building our second community building, and so we are talking about opening our own butcher shop here on the land, because we raise all natural beef, goats, chickens, every kind of animal you can imagine. And as you know, and all of you will agree, that it's time for us to start producing our own food as much as possible. And so that's just another answer to prayer. Same thing happened with the dentist. And so all these things, you know, we pray for them when we see the need, and God brings them. You know, we don't go out and try to hustle it and get in his way. If I can get out of his way, it'll be perfect. And that's kind of the size of it.
Well, you know, you're really onto something, because a day can't go by if you are researching stuff or trying to find out what's going on in the world. We're in the United States. You don't see in the major cities murders and crime on like a daily basis. I mean,
Chaos.
Phoenix, Arizona has just gone crazy. I mean, they've had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 shootings in the last 2 weeks there. Yeah, California's gone.
That they talk about.
You're not even going to get into their stats. But you see all this happening, but you also see there was a huge milk recall for, I forget, there was some contaminant in the milk, but it was not the milk itself. It was like particles, you know, metal shavings, plastic. Well, you don't have that problem when you raise your own livestock.
You do not. And we know that nanoparticles and nanodots are being put in every food source that you can imagine. Boy, if Dr. Leah was on right now, she would eat this up. She does live blood cell analysis. You know, Leviticus says the life of the flesh is in the blood, and she literally takes a drop of uncontaminated blood. She shows you your blood alive on a screen through a live field microscope, and everything that you can imagine that you can learn about your health and what to do to correct it, and what the down pressures are in our environment today. But we are coming to a point in time to where all the crazy things that you've heard is actually happening before our eyes, and we have to eat pure. They are trying to completely contaminate every source of food and drink that you can imagine by putting nanotechnology in it.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of drinking raw milk again. We grew up with raw milk. in Altadena, the city that got burned down up in California.
Yes.
We used to get our milk from Altadena Dairy, and it had the cream on the top, and there's nothing better than raw milk,
Oh,
you know.
yes.
And then, just our little
It
garden
is.
that Mike and I grew with, this year, like the tomatoes have flavor, like they're just melting your mouth, and the peppers are pungent, and the carrots
Yeah.
are sweet. I mean, they actually have flavor, and the fact that a lot of people are doing greenhouses is important too, because no matter what you do in your organic garden, you're still getting chemtrailing. You're still getting, contaminants in the air, and God only knows what they're doing, with rain and all that. But it's so much better than going to the grocery store. I'm told now, don't trust the strawberries because in Mexico they use DDT on strawberries, and I'm like, oh God, all the in our town, all the strawberries are from Mexico. And I'm like, and they're not organic. And I'm like, oh, I love strawberries. God only knows the damage I've done to my body just with strawberries alone. So,
Well,
but
now,
And it's
Randy,
hard to make that.
are
Yeah, go
are
ahead. I'm
you
sorry.
in Missouri or Arkansas?
We're in Arkansas, but we're very close to the Missouri line. Yes. And so we're in Region 3, FEMA region, and we're in Arkansas, but we're probably, like I said, you can get to the Missouri line probably in 35 minutes.
Nice. Now, before I
But
open it
just to
up,
answer something that Miss Jeannie was talking about, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We've got a little delay going on here with the internet tonight. Uh, Before I open it up to questions tonight, how do people find you and how can they make an appointment to come out, look around, and spend time talking with you and your wife?
Well, we want you to go to arkhavenland.com and arkhavenland.com, and that's our website. And our phone number is 833 275 4283. 833-275-4283. And that system will let us know that you're contacting us. Dr. Leah or myself will call you back. And we just start a conversation and we try to answer any question. We always tell people, ask whatever you want. You're not going to hurt our feelings. We want you to come in eyes wide open. And, at first that was very hard because we didn't know what it took to really be here. What did it take to start a homestead? But I can tell you today, we can show you homesteads from starting from A to Z and everywhere in between. And we don't recommend anyone to do any work unless we can show you their work in multiple jobs that they have done. So went through a lot of those learning curves, and the way to start though is to make that phone call.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you joining us and all the people that are going to watch this on YouTube. Just make sure you go to Ark Haven, HAVEN, land.com. Check it out. I mean, there's some incredible pictures there and a very good write-up about it. Take a look at it. So we're going to stop the recording now and go to questions, and I'll let Jeannie, my lovely wife, lead off with the questions.